New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And now the good news. I'm Barbara Jean, your host, and tonight is Friday, August 21st. And we've got some great stories for you tonight. Well, let's get started. Community rallies to support wages of beloved pizza joint staff. That's pretty cool, eh? So, a sisters-owned pizza institution in Minnesota, which recently closed after fire damage, has received a big slice of help from the community. In the early morning hours of July 11th, firefighters responded to a call as smoke poured from the roof of Giacchino's Pizza on the corner of Chicago Avenue and 36th Street in South Minneapolis. Crews found an active fire burning beneath the roof membrane and had to open multiple sections of the roof to put it out. The restaurant was closed and empty at the time, and so the damage was likely limited to just pocketbooks and bank accounts, which is a lot. Thankfully, we're very well insured and we're just kind of waiting for that process to happen, said current co-owner Amy Keegan. We're just waiting on the insurance claim to come through. They're doing their due diligence on their end. In the meantime, the shop has closed, but a local hospitality entrepreneur named Bob Tinsley organized a GoFundMe to support Amy and her sister Patty, as well as the whole staff whose jobs are on ice while they wait to rebuild. The community has since responded compassionately, contributing $21,000 from 291 donations. We want them back. We appreciate them. We feel terrible that they lost their jobs from this, and so we're just trying to keep everybody whole, Patty Keegan told CBS News. GoFundMe contributions will go to paying the cooks, wait staff, and bartenders, but interested parties can also support Giacchino's by buying their brand pasta sauce and frozen pizzas available at local grocery stores and co-ops. So it's not the first time the restaurant's doors, which have remained open for half a century, have been under pressure to close. Giacchino's survived the Great Recession, COVID-19, and the rioting following the murder of George Floyd, which occurred just 2 blocks away. With a little help from the neighbors, who so often tuck into one of their pies, Giacchino's can survive this too. How sweet is that? Must be good pizza if everybody's wanting to keep them going. All right, well, this guy makes 200 plus trips to remote villages to connect elders with their children who are working abroad. It's estimated that over 110 million Chinese live and work abroad, which for the family members they leave behind can be heart-wrenching and difficult, above all for the elderly. But thanks to a generous soul born to the mountain pass of Hubei province, these severed family ties are being reconnected through social media and delivery services. Tian Rule is 39 and used to be a courier among the mountains of rural Yicheng province. His years of delivering parcels through the various hamlets endowed him with close personal connections to many residents whose children have moved down to the big cities or to lands further afield to seek work. Well, last year, South China Morning Post in Hong Kong reported Tian decided that he would offer a news service in the area as sort of a middleman between these often elderly locals and their estranged offspring. So far, he's made over 200 trips to houses across the county on behalf of the sons and daughters of residents there, sometimes to bring groceries or medications, birthday cakes, and sometimes just to check in and have tea. What they really want to know is that their children are thinking them and have someone to talk to. Tian doesn't charge for short trip, but asks for a reimbursement for fuel costs for longer ones. Before visiting someone, he confirms the person's address and name, what it is they're likely to need, and then records a video of the whole thing before chopping it up and sending it to the person's relative. In one case last December, Tian visited an elderly man and spent several hours with him before sending recordings of their time together to his family. And these would be the last sight they had of their relative as he died just 4 months after the visit. Tian often witnesses the extraordinary longevity of rural Chinese. For example, a 100-year-old woman whom he visited on behalf of her grandchildren is seen in the video he produced as being spry and capable, demanding he stay for dinner before regaling him accounts of all 16 of her grandchildren's birthdays. How great is that? What a sweet man. That is beautiful. Well, here's a man who's very lucky to even be alive today. A harrowing story of survival and perseverance comes to us from Mexico, where a fisherman was rescued after spending 15 days in a pitch black cave. The man, Erasto Crisanto Valdez, said he trusted in God to deliver him from the situation, which he survived by drinking rainwater and breathing from an air pocket. According to the municipal government of Axpanapa, which organized the rescue operation, Valdez got lost in the cave while fishing in Mexico's famous limestone sinkholes. Swimming down into a cave, darkness quickly enveloped the man until he was unable to find the way he came in. That was on July 23rd, and it wasn't until August 7th that he was located. The government said in a statement that the rescue required an exhaustive 15-day operation. Wow, that man is so fortunate to be alive. We're going to take a short little commercial break, and we'll be right back with more good news on the New Thought Media Network. You're watching The Good News.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
And we're back. Well, this woman, talk about generosity, gives $1 million in life-changing bonuses to teachers in her school district. When a local resident found out that her schools in an extremely wealthy Northern California county was at the bottom for state funding, she stepped up to make the difference. Maya Kristen asked the Ross Valley School District to organize a meeting of 100 teachers from their kindergarten to grade 8 schools, and the special instruction that they weren't to know what the reason was. Gathered in a conference room on August 13th, Kristen explained she had discovered that its teachers were paid the least of any peer group in the wealthy Marin County. Marin is one of the highest income counties in America by per capita income and median household income, and sits across the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. Despite this, and despite sky-high property values, Ross Valley sits in the bottom 20th percentile for state school funding. In order to make up the difference, Kristen asked a group of district school principals to hand out envelopes which the teachers were instructed to open. We as citizens, we can write direct checks, Kristen told the assembly, who discovered exactly that, paid to their order, each worth $9,161.70. The bonuses were part of a donation worth $1 million to the school district, and KRON4, a local news outlet, was in the room when the teachers saw their checks, recording their reactions and speaking to them after. It's life-changing, one teacher said. I don't think I've ever experienced such a beautiful gift from someone I don't even know or haven't taught their kid, another answered. Well, there's one amazing person in that community who knew you were all worth it. That is a beautiful story. All right, well, DoorDash. Internet showers DoorDash driver and fiance with wedding gifts thanks to a note he left in the bag. When a TikTok influencer and NYT best-selling author, received her DoorDash meal in early August, a hand-scrawled note in the bag caught her eye. The words were from the delivery driver. Your tip is helping make our wedding possible, It read. It means the world to us. From Hope and Tyler. Hamilton is the author of 226 of the 220. Oh my gosh. I have a bit of a cold, so, my mind isn't working like it would normally. Hamilton is the author of the 2026 best-selling book, Birth Vibes, Stories and Strategies for an Empowered Birth. A delivery room nurse, the founder of Hot Mess Express, a nonprofit that provides free home cleaning services for low-income parents. She is nothing if not empathetic, and as she described in a TikTok video on her channel where she enjoys the company of some 5 million followers, the note caused her to go kindness stalking. Finding the couple's wedding page, she donated a heap of gifts through Amazon, which arrived in a massive pile outside of the couple's front door. Hope, the delivery driver's bride-to-be, responded with a video of the massive presents, writing they were so grateful. The Good News Network, who we get a lot of our stories from, received confirmation that following the exchange, DoorDash itself sent Hope and Tyler a wedding present as well. It's not the first time that kindness through their platform has brought out kindness from the platform. Way to go, DoorDash, for adding a gift, but how brilliant was that to just leave a kind note and have somebody respond? We have beautiful people in our world. Beautiful people. All right, well, this construction worker had a day. He discovered gold with his jackhammer. Yes. Police in Belgium recently made a most remarkable discovery while digging under the foundations of an old brewery. While using a jackhammer on the property in the city of Dendermonde, about 19 miles outside of Brussels, construction workers noticed coins beginning to appear in the hole they were making. Kobe Phillips, a student working part-time, said that he thought at first they were €1 coins and asked a colleague to help him dig them out. Then they saw that they weren't, and that there was a gold bar stuck to the end of their jackhammer. You can see the proof of it in the photo. 40 gold bars and over 4,000 gold sovereign coins were eventually recovered, estimated to be worth some $10 million at current market prices. I thought they were €1 coins neatly lined up in a row. We dug them out and then we saw a small gold bar of gold lying there, already etched, attached rather, to our digging hammer. I was actually a bit more than we thought. Wow. Well, the property owner, I'm sure, was surprised to hear this, but most of the bars date back to the 1960s, while the coins have a variety of different dates. Well, that's quite the find. I wonder if I should dig in my backyard. Maybe. All right. Well, for 19 years, Joshua Schneelock grew up in a German Catholic orphanage, wondering why no one had come to take him home. Decades later, a simple DNA test finally led him to the father he had prayed his whole life to meet, and to family ready to welcome him with open arms. Joshua was raised in Germany and was never adopted. As other children left the orphanage with their new families, he couldn't help but wonder when his own would turn up. When you see other kids being picked up by parents, you start realizing, hey, why is nobody picking me up? Every day, Joshua prayed with his rosary, asking for one thing. Please, one day I want to meet my father. More than 5 decades after his childhood, that prayer finally began to come true. About a year ago, Joshua's wife, Nicole, gave him an ancestry DNA kit. She knew the search could bring difficult emotions, but she also knew Joshua deserved to know where he came from. I knew that he has a family, 2 kids and myself, right? He belongs. With help from a genealogy professor, the search began. A few cousins were discovered, and then came the phone call Joshua had spent his life waiting for. One day she called me and said, I think I found your father. His biological father, Arthur Kober, had served in the military and was stationed in Europe in the late 1960s. He had no idea he had fathered a child in Germany. I did not know that I had left a baby over there in Germany when I was transferred back to the United States. If I had known that, I would have brought him back to the United States with me. Joshua decided to contact the man he believed could be his father, but he didn't reveal his identity right away. During the conversation, Arthur mentioned that he had been in Germany in 69 and 70. Joshua suddenly realized he was talking to the man he spent his entire life searching for. How beautiful is that? Ancestry just came through. This is his dad. They did the DNA test. It is his dad. That is a beautiful story. All right. Well, things happen in surprising ways. Coming off a 7-day cross-country drive, Widmer was exhausted. Then she began hearing loud thumping and banging coming from the apartment above her. Pardon me. Mm. At times, the sounds were so loud that she joked it sounded like someone was bowling upstairs. She had no idea that the person making all that noise was an elderly woman struggling simply to get through her day. A few weeks later, Widmore finally met her upstairs neighbor, Carol, after the elderly woman accidentally dropped her recycling outside Widmer's apartment. Carol was shaking so badly from Parkinson's disease that the recycling spilled everywhere. Widmer immediately stepped in to help. And as she got to know Carol, she realized that the noisy neighbor she had been frustrated with wasn't being inconsiderate at all. She was an 85-year-old woman living alone and doing her best to remain independent despite the challenge of Parkinson's disease. Hi, Wayne. Good to see you. Carol had no family nearby and had been on her own for years. Widmer was deeply moved by what she learned. I asked her 2 days ago, my girl, what would have happened if I didn't find you? And she just looked me straight in the eye and said, I would have struggled until somebody did. So Widmer decided she wasn't going to be simply the woman who lived downstairs. She was going to be Carol's friend. She began taking Carol's trash out twice a week. She started cooking meals for her and spending time with her. She also helped with cleaning and began navigating some of the complicated paperwork and services that Carol needed. And along the way, something beautiful happened. The woman upstairs, who had once been known to Widmer only as the noisy neighbor, became Carol, her friend, and eventually family. How beautiful is that? From loud noises to becoming a granddaughter to somebody who really needed it. That is a beautiful story. All right. Well, small acts of kindness. Wanted to share this story tonight because it's just so important that we practice these acts of kindness. It often appears in a doorway held open, a patient conversation, a few helpful directions, or a simple thank you said with full attention. Small actions matter because they change the tone of an ordinary moment and remind people that they are being noticed. So, why do small gestures matter? A brief act of consideration has value because it asks very little from the person offering it while giving something immediate to the person receiving it. Someone who feels rushed, overlooked, or uncertain might remember a thoughtful exchange long after the moment ends. Kindness also works through repetition. When respectful behavior becomes part of daily habits, public spaces feel less tense and conversations become easier. Paying attention, responding calmly, and acknowledging another person's needs creates small pockets of trust between people who might never meet again. 3 everyday gestures have a particular impact. Making eye contact when someone is speaking, saying thank you with genuine attention, and offering help without making the other person feel embarrassed. Kindness in public spaces makes all the difference in the world. Public settings create constant opportunities for small choices. Train stations, shops, sidewalks, cafes, waiting rooms place strangers close together, even when everyone is focused on their own schedule. A person who looks lost is already dealing with uncertainty. Clear directions, a quick map check, pointing out the correct platform saves time and reduces stress. The most helpful approach is simple and specific. Instead of giving vague instructions, mention landmarks, turns, or the exact entrance the person needs. Allowing another person to go ahead of you in a queue, merge into traffic, or take the elevator first takes only a few seconds. The gesture feels especially meaningful when someone is carrying bags, managing children, or clearly in a hurry. Patient listening, also really, really important. Handwritten notes and small thank yous. Kindness in digital spaces and personal communication. When you're on the subway or the bus, talking loudly on your phone, maybe not the best choice. All right, so being kind, really, really important. And checking in on people. You don't have to do a lot, just check in a little. It takes seconds, but carries some real great emotional weight. Online courtesy. There's so many ways that we can be kind. So I invite you over the remainder of this year and into next, take the time to, hold a door open or help a mom with a stroller get on and off the bus, or simply say thank you and make eye contact. When you're leaving the grocery store and you're leaving the checkout counter, most of them are wearing their name tag. Say their name and thank them for their service. It's amazing what a little thing will do. And if you're in the restroom, the public restroom, and there's someone in there cleaning it while you're there, thank them for making the space so special for you to enjoy. Little things go a long way. And now a happy little story from my town, Toronto, Canada. A baby pygmy hippo was born at the Toronto Zoo. You might want to come and visit now. The zoo has announced the birth of a female endangered pygmy hippo calf born this past Sunday. No, a couple Sundays ago. To 20-year-old mom, Kindia. Zoo staff first noticed that Kindia had gone into labor around 8:15 a.m. A few hours later, tiny feet appeared, and after about an hour and a half of active labor, one final push brought the healthy calf into the world. And this little girl wasted no time getting to know her new surroundings. She began trying to stand just 15 minutes after birth and was confidently moving around within a few hours. About 4.5 hours after being born, she was already nursing. Mom and baby are both doing well and are spending some special bonding time together behind the scenes in their little hippo hollow, where zoo professionals are keeping a close eye on them around the clock. Kindia has now become a mother for the third time, and the Toronto Zoo says she has proven to be an attentive mom, carefully protecting her newborn, which is so amazing. The calf's father is a 31-year-old, Harvey. The two pygmy hippos were introduced for just 8 days in January, which resulted in this little bundle of joy. For now, the baby hippo isn't available for guests or members to see as she continues bonding with mom. And while this is certainly a celebration, it's also an important moment for conservation. Pygmy hippos are endangered, with an estimated 2,000 to 3,000 remaining in the wild. Native to the forests and swamps of West Africa, they face growing threats from habitat loss, logging, mining, agriculture, human settlement, and hunting. The Toronto Zoo says the birth represents hope for the species and highlights the important role accredited zoos play in conservation efforts. For now, though, there's just a tiny new hippo getting stronger, a proud mama keeping her close, and an entire zoo team making sure they're both doing well. Welcome to the world, little one. How beautiful is that? Well, that is the good news for this Friday, August the 21st, as we are getting close to the end of summer. Oh, no, not that. I'm really enjoying this summer a lot, so I'm not ready to quite let it go, but it will be gone soon. I'm so grateful to be here with you each week, and I look forward to bringing you lots more good news very soon. Now, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and consider making a donation to the New Thought Media Network. Go to ntmedia.org, hit that donate link. Let's make sure this programming stays on forever and ever. We want to make sure that we have the radio station going, that all the different programs that run all week long, that we've got the money to keep it going. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being you. See you next time. Bye for now.